How heartful of me to visit a funeral like this. Despite the presence of other attendees, my mother-in-law stood in front of us smiling. My father-in-law was also smiling and sympathizing with her, saying,
"Yeah, we are so nice."
My anger quickly reached its peak, seeing their behavior. My mother-in-law, however, was not concerned. Your father is a mud-caked bottom feeder, and yet you gave him such a lavish funeral. I don't think you had a budget for that. Are you now having a financial problem? May I offer you a donation to help you? My mother-in-law took a dime out of her purse and threw it at my feet. I had lost my patience. This was unforgivable. I can't believe she would make fun of my father just because she doesn't like me. They will see what I can do to destroy them. In front of my victorious in-laws, I told them the truth. My name is Haley, and I'm 30 years old. I work for a construction company as an interior designer. I became a certified interior coordinator for a reason. In my childhood, I had always a slightly unusual hobby. I like to look at house floor plans and find the right furniture for the space. When I was given my own room, I asked my parents to arrange the curtains and carpets to my liking. I even asked my parents to buy me a stylish desk instead of a standard study desk. I was that strict about the space in my room. Looking back, I think it was my father's influence. The construction company I work for was originally started by my father. My father was a registered architect and well known in the industry. However, he was so busy that he could no longer spend time with his family and reduce his workload. He then gathered many construction managers and full-time engineers he knew and opened this construction company. Now, there are more interior coordinators and financial planners like me, and the company has grown to a modest size. My father, in whose company I participate, suffered a stroke 5 years ago. With that, he stepped down as head of the construction company and left it in the hands of another trusted architect who had been with him for many years. For a while, I wondered what would happen in my father's absence. But people whom my father had approved of were all excellent employees. I was proud to work in this company that my father had created. And a year ago, I got married. I met my husband Tom a few years ago, when our company was contracted to design an office. Tom was the one who visited our company as the person in charge of the project. At first, we talked only about business, but as we had more meetings, we naturally grew closer. Eventually, he asked me for a relationship. When he proposed to me a year ago, he said,
"I want to marry you, but marrying me might cause you trouble."
"Why?"
"I've told you before that my parents are very strange. I mean, they don't have any common sense."
"You mentioned it a little before."
"I have minimum contact with them, and I'm not considering moving in with them at all, but I'm afraid that I might cause you some problems in the future."
"Tom, I heard a little bit about my in-laws when we first started dating. My mother-in-law is a politician and is now a member of a county council. My father-in-law cannot go against such a strong wife and always listens only to what my mother-in-law says and is completely obedient to her. Furthermore, his parents abused Tom verbally when he failed to pass the entrance exam to one of the Ivy League. You are not our son when you are not capable to get into Ivy League. You are a disgrace. Get out of here." After hearing such words, Tom took the opportunity to go to a private university and moved into a dormitory. Because of his good grades in the entrance examination, He was exempted from all tuition fees, and he covered all his rent and living expenses with a part-time job. While balancing his studies and part-time jobs, he was able to make it through his college life. Hearing such a story, I could not come up with any emotion other than respect. I heard that he had not seen his parents since then. But if he was going to get married, he should at least give them a report. He seemed to feel like that and was planning to go see them for the first time in several years. That's why he seems to have a hard time making up his mind. Tom was looking gloomy and depressed. Seeing him like that, I put on a big smile. Tom, I can handle it. No matter what kind of person your parents are, I would want to marry you.
Are you sure?
Of course. If there is some problem, I will consider how to get along with them. But they are the parents of someone I love. No matter who they are, I'd like to say hello to them at least once.
Yeah, you're right. I know I shouldn't be running away anymore either.
I don't think you are running away. But if you don't visit your parents now, I'm sure you will be left feeling bewildered.
Thanks. I've finally made up my mind too.
Thus, I accepted Tom's proposal, and we went to his parents' house to say our wedding greetings. The following week, we headed to Tom's parents' house. Of course, I was nervous, but Tom seemed even more so. I patted him gently on the back and rang the intercom. Then, as if she was waiting for us, the door opened vigorously, and a strong-willed-looking woman appeared. She was wearing a purple dress and a gold necklace. Her hair was curled, and she was wearing flashy red lipstick. Since she is a politician, she seems to have a thick core and with full of confidence.
Long time no see, Mom.
When Tom greeted her, his mother gave him a dubious look and started to talk with a big sigh. What is a failure who failed the entrance exam and ran away from home doing here after all this time?
Don't say that.
What? It's true, isn't it? You just came back home and brought this unattractive woman with you.
She's got nothing to do with it. Don't make fun of Haley.
Oh my God. You're so pissed off. A fool like you can't possibly be loved seriously. What on earth do you expect?
I don't deserve to have my mother tell me that.
Just then, a small man appeared from behind my mother-in-law. I instantly guessed it was Tom's father. As soon as he showed his face, his father said to Tom,
What's that kind of behavior?
He began to yell at Tom. It seems that Tom raising his voice at his mother had touched his father's nerves. In order to see the tense atmosphere, I looked toward my mother-in-law. Nice to meet you. My name is Haley, and I'm dating Tom.
Haley, why do you want to be with a failure like Tom?
He's not a failure. He takes his job very seriously, and...
By the way, what do your parents do? Are they politicians like me? Or are they big shots somewhere?
No, my father used to be in a construction business. He fell ill a few years ago, and is now taking a rest. My mother is taking care of my father. Then my mother-in-law burst out laughing. When I was unable to say anything, because of the suddenness of the situation, she smiled wryly and slowly opened her mouth.
Your family is pretty much at the bottom of the pile too. Tom, who has a politician mother, brought you here. So I thought you were a young lady from a better place.
Wait a minute. I don't care what you say about me, but my father and mother.
Oh, was I right? It's true what they say about people becoming aggressive when they are told the truth. What the hell are you saying? Why should you, A completely stranger tell me that.
Then my husband stepped in front of me.
Stop it already, he shouted at his mother.
And now my father-in-law glared at us. He alternately glared at me and Tom, then began to speak as if he were making fun of Tom.
How can you behave like that towards your mother?
Huh?
How dare that stupid son, who left after disappointing your mother's expectations, come back here after all this time?
Why are you like that too, Dad? Is that what you say to the son you haven't seen in a long time?
Is rebellion the first thing you do when you come home? No, that's not it. The first thing you should do is return the favor to your mother and me who raised you.
What? What do you mean by favor?
Shut up. How much do you think we spend on you? Your mom paid for all your cram school fees and all your lessons. Are you screwed that up?
Well, that's not the topic right now.
If you're going to show up at our house, you better come prepared with the right kind of money. We don't want the lousy snacks you brought here today. Now, get the hell out of here. I don't care what happens to a piece of shit like you.
My mother-in-law giggled at my father-in-law's words. Tom's face turned bright red, and his fists were shaking as if he was about to cry. At this rate, Tom would raise his hands to his parents. Thinking this, I stood between him and my in-laws and said to them, "We were thinking of getting married, so I came to say hello to you, but it doesn't seem necessary." At those words, my father-in-law glared at me.
What the hell do you want?
I said to my mother-in-law, who silently turned away from me. I can't believe you could behave like that toward your own son.
What do you want to say?
No, it's okay. I don't think we will see each other again, so you don't need to know that.
How rude. You are indeed a woman chosen by a failure.
Well then, goodbye. Tom still wanted to say something, but I pulled his hand and we left my parents-in-law. Soon after that, we registered and became husband and wife. A year has passed since then, and I have not seen my in-laws once. Tom and I were newlywed, living in an apartment, about a 15-minute walk from my parents' house. Then one day, my father's condition suddenly changed, and he passed away. I knew that he had suffered a stroke, and was not expecting to recover. But when it came time to accept his death, I was not so easily convinced. Many people gathered at my father's funeral. Not only friends and business associates, but also people who had asked my father to design a house for them in the past. People who had willingly accepted to help him in remodeling the house. Many people wept as my father's death brought tears to their eyes, and I too felt a surge of sadness. I was greeting the attendees with my mother and Tom, but then a certain people appeared. Why are you here? It was my parents-in-law. My mother-in-law was dressed in a white suit, and my father-in-law was in denim and a hoodie, both dressed inappropriately for the occasion. The appearance of the two caused a commotion around us, and all eyes turned to my parents-in-law. While my mother and I were speechless, my husband asked my mother-in-law in a trembling voice,
What are you doing here?
What's with the way you talk? I heard it from an acquaintance that you live around here and that your wife's father had just recently died.
So why are you here? For God's sake, stay out of Haley's family.
You really shouldn't be stupid. I came all the way over here, and you didn't even say thank me for that.
My mother-in-law stood in front of me, and my mother smiling.
It's really hard for me to show up at the funeral like this. Hey, don't you think so? I believe your father was in construction or something, right? Judging from your simple face and poor appearance, I'd say he was a construction worker or something. Why are you talking like this? Oh, was I right again? It's true that poor people tend to get angry so fast.
My father-in-law was also smiling and agreeing with her. My anger reached its peak seeing this. My mother burst into tears, and my husband's face turned bright red as he tried desperately to control his anger. As we stood there, my mother-in-law took this opportunity to continue.
Your father is a mud-sliding bottom feeder, and yet you hold such a lavish funeral. I guess you will be in financial trouble. May I offer you a donation to help you?
My mother-in-law took a dime out of her purse and threw it at my feet. The coin rolled with a clink-clink sound, and my mother-in-law stamped on it. My whole body was strained with a hatred I had never felt before. I could not forgive her. How could she make fun of my father just because she didn't like me? If this is what she wants, I will destroy her thoroughly. Gently suppressing my fist, which was about to involuntarily fly out to her, I quietly opened my mouth. You will regret this.
What?
I will say it again. If you don't apologize right now, you will definitely regret it.
No, I won't regret it. An apology to a low-class person like you? That's absurd.
I see. Well then, I will have to take back the plan of remodeling your office. My mother-in-law froze on the spot at my words. Apparently, she did not understand what I meant. So I brought several employees who work for the same company as me.
Huh?
At that moment, my mother-in-law's eyes widened, and she asked me,
Why are these people here?
Isn't it obvious? They are important craftsmen of the construction company I work for.
No, you're kidding, right? You work for that famous construction company?
My father was a registered architect, and his construction company is well known in the industry. It is not inexpensive, but it has a reputation for providing high workmanship, and it undertakes not only the remodeling of the ordinary homes, but also the remodeling of companies and stores. And this mother-in-law is one of those who hired our construction company. She is a member of the state legislature and hired our construction company to renovate her office. Actually, I knew about this, but kept it a secret from my family, because I thought it would make my husband uncomfortable. Apparently, my mother-in-law had selected the top engineers of our company. At each meeting, she offered high-class hospitality and talked for an hour about her expectation. If that was all, it was still good. But she also asked the young apprentice who followed her to the meetings for his contact information.
Let's meet with only the two of us. I will pay you.
She was so insistent. One of the craftsmen said he was wondering if he should refuse to sign a contract with her. Then, the young apprentice took out his phone and confronted Tom, my mother, and my mother-in-law with it. The mother-in-law, whose misdeeds had been exposed, turned pale as she looked at it.
No, this is bullshit.
Bullshit? It's all true. I took this opportunity to tell her the truth. It seems that as a high-profile politician, you wanted to create a very glamorous office. Our company cannot be responsible for it. It's annoying, to say the least.
Wait a minute, Haley. I didn't know. I didn't know your father was a famous architect.
You used to make fun of him just because he was in the construction business, saying he was a bottom feeder. How's that now? How does it feel to be cut off from a contract by someone you disrespected? Is it okay to be a politician if you can't even see the true nature of people and judge things based on prejudice? Then, the person in charge of our company appeared on the scene. He said to my mother-in-law,
We have no intention of offering our services to you. You insulted our former president.
My mother-in-law's face turned bright red, and she ran away. Of course, my father-in-law followed her. My mother-in-law's bad reputation spread quickly. This was because several people who had attended my father's funeral had captured my mother-in-law's insane behavior on video. The video was spread on social networking sites and caused a huge firestorm. My mother-in-law had been a politician for a long time, but her trust was shattered in an instant, and she resigned without waiting for her term as a state legislature member to end. Of course, there was no way she could live as she had in the past, and her neighbors were not nice anymore. As a result, my parents-in-law were forced to move out. They were probably still forced to live day by day somewhere. I, on the other hand, have been freed from my parents-in-law's ties, and my stress-free life has returned. As for my husband, he was a little bit angry.
Why didn't you tell me that my mom had a contract with your company?
But in the end, we have nothing more to do with my parents-in-law, so it should be fine. I hope to continue to provide the best technology and service, together with my respectful colleagues and friends, and I will continue to protect the company my father had started.